I'm so bored. Maybe I should watch TV.
Hello, and welcome to Famous Mathematicians. Here, we invite some of the greatest mathematicians that have opened our eyes and have proven that math is life. Today, we have Pythagoras, the great mathematician that came up with the Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagoras, come out!
Hello! Hello, everyone! Yes, thank you! You can call me Pythagoras of Simus, because that's what some people call me.
So, Pythagoras of Saints, could you please tell the audience a little bit more about your early life?
Yes, of course. Let's see, I was born on the island of Samos, in Greece. And I must say, I was quite an intelligent one. See, my father always told me that because I was into poetry and music and traveling with my father, actually. My father was a merchant.
Yeah, so what were some of the places that you traveled to?
Well, so many. Theses really advised me to go travel to Egypt, so, oh gosh, you know how many years ago I traveled to Egypt to live with a priest, to learn more about their religion and culture, since I have a very curious mind, as you know.
And how long were you in Egypt for?
I'd say a good 22 years. Then, of course, the Persians invaded Egypt, and I was forced to leave. I was taken prisoner and moved to Babylon. And I lived there for a good 5 years. I never gave up on math when I was there. I practiced every day.
So, where did you go after prison?
Like any man would. I went back home to Samos. I opened up the school kid there. I called it the semicircle. There, I would have taught my philosophy of life. To the next generation, of course, it failed. No one showed up.
So what was the philosophy that you taught?
My philosophy was that everything can be reduced by numbers and anything can be explained by mathematics.
What a great idea!
I agree. Unfortunately, the leaders of my hometown did not. They wanted me to close down the school and join politics. I refused. Instead, I went to Croton, Italy, where my teachings and ideas were much more accepted.
So what did you do in Croton, Italy?
I opened up a new school, similar to the one in my hometown, but bigger, more powerful. It became much more than a school. It became a religion.
Pythagoreanism.
Exactly. The people who followed me were Pythagoreans. We mostly lived at the school. Our religion became our lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Pythagoras, for being with us today on Famous Mathematicians. We'll be right back.
I wonder what the theorem is.
Are you confused about what the Pythagorean Theorem is?
Yes, I am.
Have no fear. I will explain it right here. The Pythagorean Theorem demonstrates that the square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. To find the length of the hypotenuse, we first need to square the two legs, which will equal to a squared and b squared. We then need to add them together, which will be a squared plus b squared. If we square the hypotenuse, which will be c squared, that should be equal to a squared plus b squared. Now we know that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Finally, if we take the square root of c squared, that will give us the length of c, which is the length of the hypotenuse. Let's put in numbers instead of variables. If we use 5 and 12 as the length of the two legs, Then we square them, which will be 25 and 144, and add them together to get 169. We know that c squared in this equation is 169, which means that the square root of 169, which is 13, is the length of the hypotenuse.
It's an interesting theory. I wonder if there's any way to prove it.
Here are some proofs that use existing mathematical rules and logic to demonstrate that a theorem must hold true all the time. One classic proof, often attributed to Pythagoras himself, uses a strategy called proof by rearrangement. The first step is to take four identical triangles with side lengths A and B and hypotenuse C. Then, arrange them so that the hypotenuses create a square on the inside, outlined in red. We can see that the area of this square is c squared. Now, take the four triangles and arrange them into two rectangles. We know that the areas of the empty spaces in the second picture are also equal to the empty space in the first square, which is c squared. And the area of these two squares are a squared and b squared. So now we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Here is another proof that is also proof by rearrangement. Step 1. Look at the first diagram. Four triangles are arranged in a way that they form a square in the middle. The area of the big square that surrounds all of the shapes is c times c, or c squared. Step 2. Rearrange the shapes so that the triangles form two rectangles. Step 3. Using this rearrangement, we see that the value of the lengths of the yellow square are b minus a units. Step 4. Find the areas of all the shapes and add them together. The last step is to calculate the area of all the shapes. The area of the blue triangles is 4 times AB over 2. Area of the yellow square is B minus A times B minus A. And if we do the math and calculate the sum of all the shapes, we get B squared plus A squared. This means that the sum of areas of all the shapes is a squared plus b squared. And in the beginning, when we looked at the big square, we calculated that the area was c squared. So we know that c squared is the same thing as a squared plus b squared, which proves the Pythagorean theorem.
Oh, it works. Now I'll watch the news.
Breaking news! There's a cat stuck on the roof of Fanny's house. We must find a way to get it down.
Help me! I have 3 different ladders and I don't know which one to choose. One is 3 meters high, the other is 5 meters high, and another is 7 meters high. Which one do I choose? However, the wall is 4 meters high, and the ladder needs to be 3 meters away from the wall. Which ladder do I choose?
To solve this problem, we should use the Pythagorean theorem. Let's assume that the ladder is the hypotenuse. If we can imagine that the height of the wall, which is 4 meters tall, is one of the legs, and the distance from the wall to the end of the ladder, which is 3 meters long, is the other leg, we can find the hypotenuse. This is going to be so easy. First, we need to square the height of the wall, which is 4 square or 16. Then, we have to square the distance from the wall to the ladder, or 3 square, which is 9. Now, if we add 16 and 9 together, what do we get?
Wait. Oh, 25!
Correct! And what is the square root of 25?
5.
Correct! That means the ladder needs to be 5 meters tall in order to save the cat.
Ooh-wee! We have more breaking news. The cat is actually the famous pop star Catty Cat, and he has a concert right now. The problem is, he was stuck on the roof for such a long time that he is now late for his concert. He's almost there, but he has such a small paws that he cannot walk for a long time. To make the building where he's performing, he has 2 options. He can take 2 streets, one which is 16 meters long, plus another which is 30 meters long. However, that's a really long way to go. There is a shortcut through the park, which takes him directly to the building. He needs to calculate in that little kitty brain of his which route to take. To figure out how long the shortcut is, he takes the length of the 2 streets and squares them. He gets 256 and 900. He adds them together and gets 1,156. Then he finds the square root of 1,156, which is 34. So, the little kitty cat can come to the conclusion that the shortcut is only 34 meters long. If he takes 2 streets, which will be 16 plus 30, which is 46, he will waste his energy by walking those extra 12 meters. He takes the shortcut and arrives to his concert on time.